find ourselves starting this bone therapy session today. And I want you to have your right foot against the wall, and you have a wide stance, but you also have a chair that's right in front of your wide stance. So I'm in a stance where it's limiting for my knees to hold me up. And this is going to be a bit of a meditative beginning for our breathing and for our brain and the stretch in our spine. But it requires a little bit of organization. So let's say your chair is really close to your mat in general, as far as your distancing issues. You can walk back on your mat. So if you look at the wall space, you're at the back edge of the mat, right, versus the center of it, and then you'll have more space to reach on to your chair. So I think that's the solution we can come up with if your chair is close to your mat. So I want you to start with a little bit of this engaging the legs so you have the stance of lift. You want to feel that the ribs lift up, and I want you to have your belt on your chair. We haven't figured that out yet. And then as you lean forward, feel the hips push back and reach to the chair seat, however close it is to you. I want you to determine the measuring of the strength input that you have through the legs by feeling your hands, fingers stretching open on the chair seat, and then start to push the chair a little bit away from your mat. It doesn't have to be farther up than a foot or two at the most, right? It doesn't have to be that distant, but you're going to reach. Actually, I don't know if you want your belt on that. You're going to reach your hands on the chair seat and lower your head down to touch the edge of the chair. Feel where the legs are secure and toned. Feel where the hips reach back. And feel where the brain touches. If it doesn't touch your chair and it's relaxing your neck, that's perfect. But zone into your breath and let the eyes rest and the sensation of the legs, feeling the awareness to the hamstrings all the way up to your rear, and let the rear stretch and the sensation start to kind of cool throughout the feet. So it's not just in your heels, but stretching out through each foot. Bring your attention to your breath. Center here. I encourage you to let your head relax, either on the chair or down between the arms. Now start to come up and bring your belt so it's on the chair seat. You're going to slide the chair in. I want you to bring your hands to the sides of the chair. I would put it on the very edge of your mat so there's no slippy, slidey issues at all. And then bring your left hand to the center of the chair. Turn to the wall. Right arm lifts up in the air. So rotate, but be sure that the chair is actually on a place that won't slip and slide. Turn the waist. Lower down the right hand. Switch sides, please. And when you feel the turn, feel the inner thigh on the right leg actually stretch from the very inner pelvic floor muscle. Right? You can almost feel some pelvic floor musculature when you twist in this type of turn. It's kind of a swing for the hip, for the waist. Okay, and then when you come down, let's give it one more time each side. So rotate, right arm up, turn to the wall. Okay, and feel the rotation, second side, a little faster this time. Feel the turn and try to feel the inner thigh on the right leg stretch and that determination down to the left foot. Good, now as you lower down, you're going to bend through the knees. I would scoot your heels in, your toes in, so you feel an easy touch of the feet on the floor in a wide stance. And bending your knees, grab your belt and place the hands on the belt so you have a relatively shoulder width-ish reach with your arms up. Yeah, make sure it's not too wide. So the experience of the breath is in the ribs. Now, when the ribs pull up this way, we're going to feel the fibers stretch up. Okay, if your right foot is against the wall, that's okay. Feel the arms lifting up, and then we're going to slide the hands out wider and bend your elbows and move your belt behind your back. So it's like a pull down, okay? And then you're going to bring your belt carefully right behind your upper hip bone, behind you, back of the pelvis, and bend your elbows so the palms are holding the belt, palms facing forwards, and then stretch your arms straight back. Open the chest, elbows, the eyes of the elbows facing forwards. Be here, be rather patient with yourself, exploring as you tilt forward one more time, and you feel your arms actually stretching back and up. Woo. And that sensitivity in your shoulders, I want you to bend your knees, really quite comfortably so, and feel if you can move your arms a little bit farther over your back. The goal is not to touch the chair, but that is a goal some people have in mind for this one. So I keep moving my arms. Of course, if I take my hands out wider on the belt, it's easier. But I want you to feel the arm circulation. And then reach the arms straight back. Bring yourself up to standing. Drop your belt behind you. And then hands on hips. Start to get your right outer foot against the wall. Nestle it in at the base of the wall. And I'm going to push my chair away. It might not distract you to have your chair there, but for watching purposes, it will for you. So you're going to turn your left foot away from the wall. Okay, so a full rotation of the foot. And then I want you to find your lunge with your right hand at the wall. Those long arm people might find that you can take a pretty wide stance here. Both arms and leg. So feel the pattern of the legs as they balance together. Push from the right hand and lean into your left elbow on the thigh. Send your right arm up. Think up and notice the cross fibers of the chest. There's such delicate ribs at the top. You know, they're very thin rib motions, but certainly at the upper lobes of the lungs connected. So as my arm reaches over the side of my face, see if you can do that. Reach your right arm over the side of the face and consider lunging, which means you're truly working on that angle. So an extended side angle pose. Yeah, feeling the busyness of the legs. Turn your head down, looking to your left foot. Breathe. Try to let the waist stretch through the right hand. Now, right arm stretches to the wall. Come up. This time I want you to turn your left foot toes in and turn your body to the wall. Turn all the feet you have. Turn all feet towards the wall, so both feet parallel to the wall space. Back heel pressing. Bend the right knee to what you feel is okay for your left calf. Now my hands make imprints into the wall. I make my handprint into the wall and I feel the right knee bending and that left calf might be a little bit searing in your calf here. So feel the lunge, quite content. Now as you push back with that right leg straight, bring your hands up a little higher at the wall and lean in. In fact, if you can feel the arms in a little recovery here. So your arms stretch up and I'm working to lower my head to the wall. Yeah, the back calf is quite interactive. Notice your right ankle, if it's kind of starting to shift out or swivel open, I want you to press down into the bottom of the foot. Okay, keep the hands reaching up. Now, as you change sides, caution here. So I'm going to slide my hands down so they're about shoulder height. And I'm going to switch the leg that's to the wall. So left foot steps to the wall. We're going to do the same pattern but backwards. So bend the left knee. Feel the permission that you have to move your hands up or down at the wall, probably not farther down than shoulder height, but feel the lunge. And the right front thigh gradually reaching back in towards the leg and down into the heel. This is a good practice to do some really true internalize that self-study of your environment around your structure, your low back. Okay, now stay with the pattern here. We're going to straighten the left leg just for good measure. We're going to move our hands up at the wall a little bit higher. Be reasonable depending on your left foot's response. I know for some of us this is quite the foot stretch where the toes are up at the wall and the elbows up. So if that's a bit much, you can always back off, meaning take the foot a little bit back from the wall. Now bend the left knee, lower the hands down, and turn to your right. So the outer side of the left foot is against the wall. The right foot turns forward, and we bring the left hand to push into the wall and set ourselves into this warrior pose. So I'm in a wide stance. I have my right under thigh. Start to stretch the right buttock towards the back of the right knee. Try to go there, reaching through the arm. And then lower that right elbow to the thigh and stretch the left arm over the side of the face. And really try to feel that span of reaching through that left arm and the awareness of the back, waist, torso, ribs. Breathe. Okay, now this time we're going to keep advancing. So I'm going to have you turn to your right thigh. Get a hold of some blocks, okay? You can also use your chair under your hands for these as well. So if the blocks feel too low, a chair is a helpful companion, okay? So you'll bring your blocks in and you're going to pivot the back heel up at the wall. This kind of carries us through a nice range of standing poses. So when I'm into this lunge pattern, I want you to lower your back knee and actually reach the right knee back. Take a blanket. Be kind to your knees. So I'm going to tuck it in quite far back to my thigh and then let it lower down so my feet are still at the wall. Okay, so let's use our hands on the firm floor. So I'm going to have you move your hands forward and lean into a variation of upward facing dog. So the front realm of thighs elongates. Feel how the feet, when they push into the wall, I almost feel like my lower back it's a little bit of a grip, but it's also some stability in my lower back. So let's take it there. We're going to feel the arms push the floor away. Keep that awareness of the arms pushing the floor away as you lower down at the belly. And you're going to get a feel of your elbows on the floor in a Sphinx pose, but your feet touch the wall, okay? So feel where your hands press. Feel where your forearms press down. Now, if you're someone that likes to do heart bridge, this would be a good opportunity right here to explore that shoulder opening and spine strengthening. So I'll offer an awareness of that. This one has nothing under the forehead though, so it's a little different. You would tuck the blocks in so they're under the armpits. The blocks are flat. My feet still touched into the wall. Trying to keep it so my heels don't move out to the side, so they're pointing straight up. Okay, now my shoulders are really at what's called the coracoid process. So right where you have these attachment pieces at the shoulder to the arm. So it feels a little bit nervy there with the block. Now as my arms move back, I'm going to stretch my arms back so the palms face towards the ceiling. And I'm going to work my muscles in my back, so I'm going to feel my arms push into the blocks. Gently push into my feet to lift up the front of the spine. Inhale. And then exhale, I want you to let your hands relax and let your chin tuck to your chest. Okay, inhale, reach your arms now facing in towards you. Brain lifts up. Use the blocks to hold your shoulders back. And then exhale, bow a little bit, forehead down. Feel the palms relax on the floor. And now feel your feet push back, and then you're going to slide the blocks just a little bit out to the sides. Hands on the floor right underneath your armpits, so you can tickle your pits with your thumb if you needed to. And then as your hands push forwards, I want you to start to climb yourself up into that upward dog, and then come back into cat pose. So tail moves back, all fours. Round your back, chin motions into chest. Inhale, arch. Really gather fluidity here. So you have an opportunity to stay with a very stabilizing cat-cow right here. Or you can work your muscles of your back waist a little bit deeper by moving your hips down through the up dog and then back into cat. Cat-shaped spine. Okay, so you can alternate these two for the next 15 seconds or so, or stay with cat-cow. But mobilize and warm up the vertebral column here. Feel the reaching. Okay, last time, feeling through the arch of the spine and the flexion. Push the floor away, lift up the knees, and I want you to center your heels up at the wall so that the balls of the feet press down. Feel the arches of your feet. The heels are up. Feel the stretch of the chest. Okay. Let the sitting bones lift up like you're kind of reaching the buttocks back and up towards the ceiling. And then try a little bit of a balance hybrid here. So the left heel lowers to the floor and the right foot lifts up at the wall. So feel the calves. Feel the footing. Change sides. If the wrists are fatigued, lower down to your knees, come back to child's pose, and then join us at the next side. So feel the right heel a little bit up at the wall. Feel the left foot lifting up. Stabilize. Remember, creating muscle also creates stronger bones. They go hand in hand. Now lower the left foot. And then I want you to get a few moments of lower down the knees wide. Come back to child's pose. Hips reach back towards the feet. Forehead down, slide the hands in so you make a little pillow for your forehead. And let the spine center back through a little bit of a cat-shaped back. Rain down, resting into your hands. Feel a cycle of repetition of breath to calm the mind. Now as you come up towards the forearms, feel the elbows onto the floor. And then as you move your hips forwards, pop up the elbows. And then let's gather our chair. So you might have to come up kneeling and then slide your chair onto your mat. And I want you to have your blocks at the feet of the chair so they're perfectly connected to the foot and the lower leg of the chair. Unless your chair has long legs. Okay, so at the base. When you come up, you want to make sure the chair is close-ish. Okay, closer is probably better than too far out when you come up. You can always push it out. So as I stretch my hands out open, I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to move my blanket off to the side, and then stretch my left heel to the wall and the right foot up at the block on the right side of the chair as I'm looking at the chair. So as I lean into my elbows or my hands, either way, elbows down or handprints on the chair, we're getting a lot of leg interaction in the beginning of the session. Kind of getting through all the physicality first. Okay, so connecting to that organization of the legs. Feel the right leg order, the calf. And then lower the right foot down in the center of the blocks under the chair seat. And I want you to try to lower your left elbow to the seat. Okay. So my right hand's going to come up to my right hip, and I'm going to get a hold of my hip. Now my palm could face back, or it could turn in so the fingers are facing down, which is the preferred angle of holding onto a hip here. So I get a hold onto my hip bone. I'm not going to pry it too much. But if I look down at my legs and they are in the same track, I'm going to scoot my right foot a little over to the right side so my feet are in a separate tracks and not in the same one. So turn the waist. Yeah, if your left arm is shaking, you can always turn your hand over to the right side of the chair. You can put more padding on the chair if it's uncomfortable. Those are other options. Towels are great. So turn the waist, try to get that right hip to open, and then bring your right hand to your back. And then let your head turn down towards the chair. Yeah, take some time to finagle the left arm strength. Okay? Feel the right hip flow back. Breathe. This is a little difficult for you. If it's mostly the legs that are having a challenge, try bending your right knee a little bit. And then feel that right hip trying to move back. Yeah, it's not easy. It's certainly a challenging pose, but essentially important, right, for the hip, for where we're going. So strengthening the hips. Now, right arm tries to help you twist the ribs back. Twist the ribs. Okay, feel the right arm flow up. This is a true revolved triangle now. Can you feel the triangle shapes? Expand the right arm to the bar of the chair. This is a good one. And then as you come up, I'm going to encourage you to feel the left hand on the chair seat. Now elbow is up. So the arms are in a straight reach. Left hand down, right arm forward. Now get a feel here as you start to step back. You're going to lower your hand down to the seat. Hands on the sides of the chair. Be sure that you're stable pushing into it. And then as you bring your right foot back, yeah, wiggle room here. Hips a little forward, so it seems like an upright push-up position almost, doesn't it? It's fairly challenging in your arms. Lift up the chest just as much as you could trust yourself to do here. Push back to a chair dog. Feet stand out wide, away from the wall, and let the arms unwind. Head between the arms. Head relaxed. Breathe into the back. You know, as you bend your knees and thoughtfully feel the spine rounding. And then as you come up to that second side, reach the right heel to the wall. And, you know, if any time the chair feels too far out, take it in. Make sure that you feel some support. So my left foot lifts up on the block on the left foot of the chair. And I work exactly as kind of ordered from the left side. I'm going to try to keep my arms straight for a few. You can always put your elbows on the chair and still work with the upper back strength. But feeling that quality of awareness in the left calf. Really feel through the heel. And also, what about your rear, right? If the rear was tucking under, like feel it when you tuck your tailbone under, this isn't really a good calf stretch, is it? So it seems to be that everything matters, right? Your interconnectedness matters. So feel the hip stretch back. And then the calf is meeting its experience, meeting its end. You can't get away without something today. Okay, slide the left foot under the chair seat. Feel the left hand on the hip, right? Just like we did last time, it's your left hand, so it'd be onto your left hip. Now, when I start to rotate my hip, I'm going to lower my elbow down first. Contemplate this idea, and then turn to the left and feel that left hip stretch back. Let's say your right heel is trying to inch up on the wall. It's telling you it needs some help, right? So it's usually reminding you, I'm not able to stretch all the way quite yet. So use the wall to help you out. If you need to lift your heel a little bit, do so. And then start to turn your belly. Keeping in mind that twists are quite nourishing, not just for the structure and the vertebral column, but the organs. So feel how it pushes from the low back of the waist, turning into the hips, and then let the left arm stretch up. Feel the body rotate. Breathe. Yeah, the right side of your body, if you look down towards your arm, if the elbow is trying to push out off the chair, or if it's shaky, see if you can feel the muscles encapsulated in the upper back into the shoulder blades, pressing down. Feel the resistance. Okay, then let the left hand reach to the chair back bar, and then feel the right hand actually come up to that space as well this time. So we start to work our way in towards some balance. So I want you to try to feel where you're reaching with the arms. Okay, and then when the hands come down, this gets a little more exciting. You're going to push the chair forward. I know it definitely is a little issue on your mats here. So push the chair a little forward. You can have a block on your chair seat. You might find that half moon pose is easiest with just the chair. So I'm going to lift up my right foot at the wall and turn to the right, because my right foot's up, so I'm going right side. And as the right arm goes up to the sky, be sure that you're not too close to the wall, not too far away. So you want to feel when you are straightening out your standing leg that you can actually bolt up from the heel to the sitting bone. So this might mean that you bring your chair a little bit closer, so you are really packing it on in strength on this left hip, the neck of the femur on this left side. So push into the standing leg, push into the wall leg, and arm could go beside you if you're getting a little fatigued. And keep in mind, we don't want the foot too high up at the wall. We want to feel this left hip, really feeling it, really feeling it all the way into the bone, deep, deep. Okay, right hand down to the chair seat. Switch sides almost immediately, so you don't get too passive, right? You're gonna feel your left foot at the wall. Keep in mind, not too far away. Pivot the left foot open, and then extend up with the left arm. Feel that rotation. Feel the turning of the waist. Okay. Yeah, and if you feel the standing leg is super shaky, this would be a good time to kind of review your basics. You should be able to look down, and the right knee is not twitching in, but it's actually stabilized right under the quadricep. And this whole top of the right thigh is probably kind of spazzing out. So it's really a pretty integrated pose for strength and balance. Left arm besides your leg, on top of it. Working for a few more breaths. You can look down at your right arm or down to the chair itself. Ooh, really feeling into your right glute. And then left hand down to the chair seat. And let's take a moment as we switch back. We're going to reach back into our feet. We're going to step both feet back. Bend your knees. Take a rounded pose for your back. Head center of your arms. And I want you to let your hands slide back just above your knees. Feel your hands above the knees, to the thighs, like to the quads. And then round your back. Chin tucks in. Come up. And step the right foot on top of the chair. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll have our chair seat. So it is close enough so that when you reach back, you can get the wall with your right hand. You don't want it to be so close that your right elbow is bending a lot. So measure that distance now. Give it a few moments. Make sure the chair is distant away that you can actually regulate the leg strength. So we'll step up the right foot. We're going to bring the left hand to the side of the right knee. And carefully turn to your right with the hand on the wall. Feel your right hand at the wall. Feel the right hand turn so the thumb is pointing up. Getting into our arms after they've had some challenging pressure. So we're trying to spiral the circulation through the chest, through the arm. Okay, left hand to the outer right leg. Turn the waist and feel if you can find some confidence here in the shape for a few moments, like about 15 to 30 seconds. If the right leg is kind of sliding back out of the lunge, that's okay. We're most interested in the torso turning. As the torso turns. Okay, now with all that leg stability, I want you to bring the right arm up, both hands up, step down from the chair and interlace your fingers and stretch the arms straight up. Interlace, press the palms to the sky. Change sides. Left foot steps up on the chair seat and kind of feel how this is a nice regulator for the hips. They need regulation too. So feel when you are stepped up onto the chair seat and then start to turn to your left. Now your arms are guiding the way, but you're going to bring the right hand to the outer right knee and the left hand back up to the wall so the thumb points up on that left hand. Feel the waist turn. Breathe. This is always more to go. We're going to keep the twist as a habit in the next 15 minutes. We'll bring some more concentration to the core. So feel when the body rotates. Breathe. If your shoulder, your pec muscles are kind of really twanging with this position, a little bit resistant, lower the hand at the wall. It's tough to get the thumb to point up, isn't it? And even tougher to look back at it. Now, as the left hand moves off the wall and back to your left leg, just simply take a step down. Our legs are doing a lot of up and down, alternating. It's a bones class, so we do that. But we're going to tuck the chair in. So let's say your chair distance. If your hand is straight at the wall and you reach up to the chair, your hand would be hovering right over the back bar, about that. Okay. So let's turn to the wall and then simply stretch our left hip flexor, or hip flexors. So step the top of the foot onto the chair seat and lengthen the waist. Feel the hands shoulder height, and feel the left knee kind of feel like it almost droops a little bit. Droopy knee, and let the thigh kind of catch the stretch. Right leg is stable. But really enjoy letting the left front thigh not hinge. You can try to hook the toes under on the left foot on the chair seat and then stretch back into the heel. This is pretty exciting for the hip. I like that. It really kind of engages the quadricep, right, the whole front length of the thigh. Your hands could walk up the wall. They could stay sturdy at shoulder height. And then when you switch sides, feel your leg drift back to the chair. Feel the top of the foot. Feel the hands wide. And feel the balance at the waist. It's pretty easy on the waist, but it's a nice reminder that when we recruit our hip flexor, our psoas, we recruit these areas to stand up, which is rare that you would stand with your legs stretching behind you, but it does kind of wake up the psoas, wakes up your hip flexors, front of your thighs, deep abdominal muscles, and it generally feels pretty good on my back. So feel the toes maybe under on the right foot, perhaps, up to you. Feel when you reach back. Okay, so now we're going to relax the footing on the chair, and I want you to actually take the foot off and then come back to sit on your chair. Slide it in a little bit towards the wall so that you could actually easily touch the wall when you lean forwards. Not too close though. You want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge. Okay. So let's do this. Let's add a block in between the knees. Well, actually not quite yet. So have a block between your hands. Then move it up, okay? Bend your elbows so that you're holding onto that block. You're facing towards the wall, but the elbows are pushing inwards, right? So you're measurably moving your elbows back, but your elbows are squeezing in towards your head. So you have an element, okay? So be clear that your sitting bones are connected and they're motioned apart, where you can feel the arch to your back. Feel the hands push into the block. Breathe, move the arms straight up. And then bend your elbows again. Okay, now with that deep arch in the back, I want you to press into your sitting bones like you're making a sit print on your mat, on your chair. Make your sitting bones print. And then place the block between the knees and simply hold the seat of your chair with your hands, palms facing forward towards the wall. Feel your shoulders move back. Feel your ribs move open. Breathe. Shoulders back, ribs open. And now that you have this perfect spine, the spine you always wanted, okay, we're going to keep the block and keep the stature of the ribs. Just going to give it a try. We're going to turn to our left and bring the right hand to that outer left knee, just like we did when we were standing. Same thing. But this left hand is going to creep back on the chair seats, farther back. Now, if you can get the rung of the chair, let's say you can get the back rung of the chair, fine. Maybe your shoulder doesn't go there. I want you to introduce the feeling of the shoulder head moving back, rib head moving back, but keep the block centered between the knees. So you're pretty limited, aren't you, on how wild and crazy you can get here. So feel the thick back ribs turn. Okay, now as you move your left hand off of the chair seat, bring the left arm forward across the chest. Right arm scoops under, palm open. Hook the elbows and then intertwine the arms. Take it in stages, elbows up. Okay, feel the left arm on top of the right, lift up the elbows. Arms are twisting. Shoulder blades spread open. Breathe into the upper back, noticing if the breath was a part of your focus. Sporadically, it comes and goes in bones, but even more essential here, elbows up. Now, as I unwind and I twist to my other side, I take it easy. Left hand outside right knee, right hand to the chair seat. Now you can see a habit that is in this position is oftentimes to hold the bar of the chair and pull back. Right? That is a little incorrect unless you're super short arms, but the shoulder will tend to roll forward. When I hold back, it rolls in. Right? So if I have my arm lower, I can turn it back. Right? Not many of us want our shoulders to roll in more. So feel your shoulder moving back. And feel the spine basically spiral up like it's a helix, right? It spirals up the spine all the way up. And the shoulder moves down. Lift up your spine from the sitting bones. Feel pushing into the block. And then we'll take the right hand off and cross that arm over the left and intertwine the arms and lift the elbows up. Try feeling when the back is stretched open. The breath and the upper back of the rib cage. Really expand the breath. Feel. Feel the elbows motioning up. You know where that concentration is in the upper back. Now when your arms are lifting, I want you to unwind your arms, open the chest, and then let's take a thoughtful moment here. We're going to take the block away. Right foot crosses over left. Right foot crosses over the left knee. And then blocks down, hands at the wall. So you're in a seated pigeon pose. You're leaning forward. You get a feel of your hands pushing. So you have a little bit of push. And then when you sink down with your torso to the legs, I want you to feel where your hands press, and there's that stretch through your back. Feel where the sensation is in your back. Let your head bow down between the arms. Breathe. Now lift up the brain and then arms and see if you can switch sides. Easy does it. Hands to the wall. Left knee, it might kind of sputter up. So your work here is in using leverage. And this is a great way to do this hip opener. When we do pigeon on our bolster under our hips, that gives us some elevation and leverage into the joint. And this gives a little bit more of that because your actual body is on a chair. And then when you prop your foot over to the knee and you lean into it, you're using your alignment, right, to trigger that opening of the hip. To get a feel for the back of the waist. Now, when you move up with the brain and you slide back onto your hands on the seat of the chair, get a moment where you uncross and you walk your feet forward and you slide your seat off of the chair seat. So I hold myself up with my arms, probably more into your wrists. Bend your elbows back, tricep dip. You're going to lower your seat down, and then I want you to try to lift yourself back up. Straighten the arms. Lower your seat down, and then push back up. Okay, one more time. Lower your seat down in front of the chair seat. Okay? Now, when you come up, what you're going to do is lower down so the knees are on the floor, right? If you need a blanket, add a blanket under them. It's a momentary pose, right? So a blanket is an option, but nice to have. So I hold onto the chair seat and I move my shoulders back. Now I'm going to turn my fingers back so the thumb, the span between the thumb and the index finger, that webbing, fits perfectly on the connector of the chair arm onto the seat. It's a magical experience, right? Because they hold together nicely. There's two webbings. And then shoulders back and lift up into camel pose, right? So we have our hips moving forwards. We have the chest open. We'll do a very elementary variation here. So shoulders back, chest open. Remember, put padding under your knees if you need to. Do so. Lift up the chest. You want harmony around your knees, I think. Harmony. Okay, open the chest. Now, if my chin is up, it's a little better for my neck, actually, than if it's here. Okay, so I want you to try to feel the tilt at the jaw. Now, hands are going to slide off the chair seat. We're going to take a fully different position. So, hands to the wall, stretch your arms up, and move your forehead towards the wall. Your rear might touch the chair quite a bit here, but feel your head touch towards the wall. Ease your back. Now, as I come back, I'm going to turn towards you, but I'm going to ask you to take a seat down in front of your chair seat. So you want to take a seat too easy, going with the left leg under the chair. And I would push the chair a little bit distant from the wall. This is where you might want to be sitting on a blanket. If you're on a carpeted floor, it's probably not going to be as important. But here's the deal with the blanket. It brings height to your hips, so your leaning positions. The hinge of the joint will be a little bit more comfortable, right? So if I have a blanket under my seat, it will make my connecting, my pose will feel maybe a little bit more interconnected. So I'm just going to put the blanket across the mat and then horizontal, and I'm going to take a seat on it. So most of my buttock flesh is on the blanket. Okay. If you have a sandbag, let's use it. Let's put it on the top of the right thigh. Okay, and then as you lean into the chair, have just a little distance from the wall so that you can actually touch it and turn. You want to have a little distance, but not be right up against the wall. Okay, so take the chair seat, lift up your elbow, lean into it. So the elbow is on the seat, the waist stretches. Oh, that feels kind of nice. So take some time where the sand is on the thigh. Feel the body sink into the chair. And then your head can rest into your hand. It might seem kind of minimal for some of us, there's this, how much it's stretching in the waist, but you can always go farther down on the chair with your arm. You can take the chair farther out, away from you. I like to feel the small measurement of stretch, and then it's pretty deep, but I'm getting it. I'm actually feeling it make some change. So right arm goes up. It goes over the side of your head. Feel and trust your waist, the ribs, the breath. Feel how the waist transitions, and we start to kind of interconnect all the poses we've worked up to now so we can really settle and get a nice stabilized structure, but also really feeling loosening up the tension too. Now the core work we're doing today really has to do with twists and side bends. So when you come up and bring your hand to the wall, feel the transfer of weight, feel the leverage. So I use my chair seat. If it's too close for comfort, push it away. And then the right hand stretches back to the wall, and I get both hands to the wall and turn. Yeah, it's quite shoulder and chesty, isn't it? It's quite in the upper bones of the body. But they're important bones too, right? Not just our legs for our therapeutic bones class, but also the upper body. So feel the turn in the waist. Flex your left foot. It's still there. Okay, now if that right shoulder is rolling in, try to get it to stand back. Breathe. Left hand to right leg. So you feel that the twist is starting to unravel on its own. Right hand still at the wall. If all the energy is in your shoulder, and that's like the warmest spot for you, not your torso, right? You're not maybe quite there to that twist encompassing your waist. So there's work to do to open up the chest, so let the pecs be wide. And now as you come out, I want you to let your right hand slide down so the shoulder can recover, okay? So as your shoulder's in recovery, you're gonna turn forward and you kind of hold on to the sand. That's part of recovery, is to contract the muscles again. Turn to your chair, take the sand off, bring your feet to cobbler's pose, feet together, knees out, and face the chair. Okay, so I've got my seat on the blankie. This is certainly a nice thing. Actually, let's change it up for a second. Let's bring our left foot forward of our right knee, our right shin, sorry, forward of the right shin. Let's not cross that deeply. And bring your hands on the chair seat and lean forward. You can push your chair a little bit away on this one. Hands on the chair, elbows maybe, and then you get your hip as well. Okay, sand could be added on the left upper thigh. But let the body kind of marinate in this shape. Feel the left hip. And now we take cobbler's pose. Okay, so feet together, knees out, blocks underneath the knees, optional. If you kind of like the intensity of having no blocks, you could go with that, but rather than trying to force my knees down to the floor, I'm going to elevate through the core, and then I'm going to try to tip forward and walk the hands front, feeling into the legs. Really feel the low back, thigh muscles, the groins. Okay, now switch sides. So we're going to go all the way to the other right leg under the chair seat. Turn to your left. So your left foot is on the upper inner right thigh. And as you pivot, you're going to place that sand on the upper left thigh and start to aim into your chair with your arm. So right arm is on, hand could hold your head. And if you're short, your foot's going to probably be on the rung at the back of the chair if you have a rung, which I kind of find pretty nice to enjoy the shortness of me sometimes. That helps kind of spur up the leg to have nice structure for this. So you try to get your heel to press down anyhow. So when I let the left arm go up, I'm going to lean into it and try to let my waist turn. Feel the left arm move up, feel the arm stretch to the right. Breathe. Now, if the left arm can stretch open and you can reach it back to the wall, I want you to turn and try to get both hands at the wall. Yeah, understand that the left foot touching the right leg is helpful for the hip. Now, if your left shoulder is feeling like this is contraindicated for me, I don't want you to push your hand farther back at the wall to wrench around the shoulder. I want you to focus on the ribs. They can tolerate probably more, unless you have an injury in the ribs, than the shoulder any day. So feel the hands, maybe lower them down if it's too much, and regulate your breathing. You can always put your right hand on the left knee here and see if that helps your back balance. Yeah, for me, when my hand is on my knee and I twist, it connects across my shoulder blades into my upper back muscles, right? Your lats engage. It's kind of nice to turn the waist that way. Take a couple more moments here, breathing. Okay, letting the body start to turn. So I'm going to turn to the chair and I'm going to bring my right foot in, take the sand off my left thigh, and take a simple cross-legged position. Last pose with the chair, actually. Let's hear a shoulder stander. So my right foot is forward of my left shin, and when I lean forwards, I could have a sandbag on my right thigh. It would be nice. It's not required, but it's nice to just do that weight-bearing type of essentials, you know, even if it's gravity to the hip here. So feel your spine up, feel the rather neutral back, and then reach a little bit forwards. Yeah, notice the accumulation in your hip, and that you're trying to kind of shed, and part of that shedding of tension is to feel it accumulates and it heats up, right? So you have to kind of heat something up for it to kind of slough off. So that's certainly going to be a part of connective tissue, warming it up, loosening it up, rinsing it off, okay? So take a few more moments, simple cross-legged forward bend. Hip shedding. So breath regulation. Okay, now as we come back up, we're going to move the chair to the side. And we're going to lower onto our back and put our feet up at the wall. Okay, so this is a nice kind of selection of motion. So I want you to move your blocks aside, keep them nearby. And then as I uncross my legs and I put the blanket off, almost center of my mat, but I'm short, so it's not going to go quite that far back. But when I come around to the wall, I want to have my feet up and I'm at a right angle. Okay, this kind of warms up your hip flexors in a different way. So if my feet are wide, okay, and I place the block between the knees, narrow, first setting, and I want you to spend a few moments alternating cat-cow in the spine. So my hands are going to be besides my mat, kind of on the sides, elbows bending. And then as I arch the back, which is pushing my tailbone down, and then as I round the back and stretch between the shoulder blades, I want you to keep lifting your hips before you know it, and the arms go overhead. Now, if this blanket's too much, that happens. It gets to be too much bulk under your spine. You can push it away for now, but lift up your hips. Try to massage all the way up the spine. Maximize that lift and center. And then lower down, arms lower with you. You start to learn how to go in tandem with this, with your arms and your spine. So when you scoop the core, pushing the back down, noticing that when I push down into my back, what I'm trying to focus on is pushing into the block. That might not be something that you can visually see, but I'm pushing into the block and then my energy moves into the back. I don't want all my pressure in my back. Doesn't seem wise. So pelvic floor toning and then pushing in and then lifting up and stretching the arms overhead. Feel the hips lifting. Now lower the spine down. Give it a couple more times at least. So feel, especially if it's fatiguing for you, I want you to notice the good things about it. If it's just tiring, but notice the massage to the back. And then the ease when you lower down. It's almost like you want to rapidly fall back into the floor because gravity will have you anytime, right? So we're trying to go against it, right? Resistance is helpful for bones. That creates stronger bones, is resistance. So just noticing that alternating pattern, especially when you sweep down. Okay, now keep it in the core. We're going to bring the block, and I want you to place it under the back of the pelvis in a low setting. Regardless of your level, bring your block under your low back and move your feet up into the air. And palms are open beside you. Feel your shoulders back, feel the ribs open. Let the back really kind of recover and receive from the bridge pose. Processing. Now as the legs drain out, you're going to bend through the knees. You're going to feel the feet to the wall and then push into the wall as you stoop and let the tailbone lift up so you're in a bridge pose. And then slide the block away. And blocks go bye-bye, really. You're going to want your bolster soon. So you're going to lower your spine down, ease the back. Lower your feet a little bit at the wall. And start to push yourself back. So you might end up back on your blanket if you have it back behind you. So I'm going to push my feet down to the base of the wall. Okay, make myself straight. Straighten it up. Okay, feel your feet push the wall. Find your bolster. If it's an arm's reach, I'm happy for you. So that'll be a little easier exchange. Okay, so I've got my bolster to the right side of my mat. And I'm going to cross the left leg over onto the bolster and place my sandbag on the outer left thigh. So open the left arm and consider it a crossover for the fibers of the hip, the low back, right? But also the thoracic chamber. So feel that rotation. Arm is open on the left side. Invite your breath back in. Let these final poses bring you through an experience of processing the practice, absorbing. I find these are easily absorbent poses when I have a hip crossover. Now my right leg isn't straight, but I could push into the wall and kind of re-inspire my back. So if you don't have one of those balls to put at your sacrum, the foot at the wall is sort of, it's a good example of connecting to your low back, like the ball would be to your back. Nice to feel options. Take a few more seconds here. Now, hands on sand if you have sand. When you change sides, put the sand on your belly. Bring your knees to point out the back muscle center. And then if you can easily move your bolster to the left side. Cross over, slide it down, and then simple. Left leg down, right leg bends, crosses over to the bolster. There's habits that you have with your posture with these two. So since we can't see exactly what you're up to, I would be essentially focused on my right, so my left foot at the wall, it's turned open, so the outside of my left foot, the little toe side is down to the floor, turned out. And then feel where the waist turns, feel where the right arm opens out, feel where maybe your head turns to the right. Breathing, feel it across your hip. If your head can turn right, go for it. Okay, now finally remove the sand from the thigh, and we're going to set ourselves up to get the legs to drain out in a wall legs pose. So as you unwind, hug the knees into the chest, circle the knees, take a few moments both directions with knees rotating, okay? And you're going to want to have your bolster in a sandbag and a blanket. Okay, a minimum bolster and a sandbag or bag of rice. So roll carefully, come up, and then take your legs up the wall pose. And when we put the bolster, or maybe you use a stack of blankets or towels, you can use either. I want you to establish that you have that circulation moving from the back of the pelvis to the spine as well. So you're going to sit up at the wall, okay? If you're going to do a chair shoulder stand, take that pose. So I want you to have your back, actually I'm kind of tilted right now, because I know I'm going to try to roll on the back of my pelvis. So I'm going to have my sand in easy access so I can get that when I get up to down. And my focus is really getting my tush to the wall, getting your sitting bones to the wall. Kind of an unusual thing to try to do. Okay. I hope this is the only time you try to get your sitting bones in the wall. When you're performing this pose. Okay. So when I reach under with my left arm, I'm on my left hip. So my left arm is the scooper. Okay. So I'm going to scoop it under and roll on that shoulder as much as I'm rolling on the back of the pelvis, and I almost roll off my bolster. Okay. So I'm going to scoop my heels into the wall, dig them in, and then when you're digging it, you're going to lift your hips up and down. Now that's a shoulder stand on its own, right? I'm pushing into my wall, I'm digging my heels in, and I'm lifting up on my shoulders. That's why this is a sister pose to shoulder stand. Okay. So if I take my blankie and place it under my brainy, okay? And then I can either decide if I want my sand on my feet or not. This can feel pretty good without sand too. So if you're going to add your sand, grab it now and bend your knees so that you have this nice experience of the awareness of circulation draining and improving that flow of lymph. Now, if this feels really good in your feet, they're kind of tingly, the blood pressure is starting to go down, you notice that, I can see why sand-free is a good one too. Okay, if you're going to use the sandbag, you want to push it, and then as you're leaning your heels in the wall, this feels pretty nice in your back muscles to have the sand. It's a mirror image of your back releasing. And be sure you feel pretty content with your placement of weight as it's weight bearing. And then get the arms in the realm of cactus. The elbows are wide, the hands are straight back. And relax the eyes from top to bottom, back into the brain. Yeah, the channels of the eyes are so interconnected to the brain, right? Especially how much we use our eyes and the visual field for information going into the brain. This would be a nice opportunity for you to close your eyes. If you have an eye pillow, the weight of the eye pillow, the weight on the eyes actually induces, right, it lowers the heart rate, triggers a reflex to lower the heart rate. So noticing, even closing your eyes, how that can start to bring calm. Let's be here for a few moments. Let's let the body feel nurtured and supported through the back of the pelvis. Feel the belly open, feel the rib cage, the chest wide. Breathing in sensibly the right amount of time for breath. To feel the belly lift. Massaging the organs, feel the belly relax back to the spine. Everything's placed fairly close together in the core, so there's harmony possible between muscle groups and organs. So maybe let the rest of the session be about creating some harmony internally, hoping for that possibility beyond yourself. Notice any reservation you have with your breath. Let it go here. Now feel where your feet flex. If you're in the chair shoulder stand, you'll start to move yourself down from the height of the feet straight up. Okay, the wall legs, you're gonna bend your knees. You have to put your feet away from the wall to properly remove the weight. Otherwise it drops to your rear. And that's a little bit awkward. So move the feet away, do a little leg press, bend your knees. Feel the stability in the back of the waist. You could fling the sand overhead, maybe wash your hands. You could put it off to the side, but you're going to bring your feet to Baddha Konasana. The knees open. Let gravity stretch the inner thighs. Feel the muscles of the abdomen move and transfer when your feet push together, right? A little bit of energy through the waist. Now start to move your knees in towards each other, so they're not going to touch, but the feet push into the wall. And I want you to tuck the knees in towards the chest, and then roll a little side to side, rock side to side. And then you're going to roll all the way over to the side. Okay. Let your hands bring you up to sitting. And take a mini moment here just to connect together in our palms. Feel your body weight into a cushion or a blanket. Feel the shoulders really roll themselves back and the heart elevate. Feel the hands rise up in front of the heart space. Bowing your head, surrender there. Inhale slow, belly full. Exhale, bowing into your heart. Gratitude, namaste.